My name's Taylor. I'm the winemaker here at Cedar Creek Estate Winery in Kelowna. Cedar Creek is located along what we call Lakeshore, which is kind of the south and east slopes of Okanagan Lake, just south of Kelowna. We all have these northwest aspects, so facing away from the sun. So the days are cooler. Our season starts a little bit later than what they do on the other side of the lake behind me, and finishes a little bit earlier as well. What that means is we get really nice acidity, so really bright, fresh wines. And we get some cool earthiness in the wines as well. We're not just pure fruit here. So how do we make picking decisions? So this is Pinot Gris, so actually a good indicator is color. If you have a look at the fruit, you can see that there's some green and some kind of tan colors, but most of it is like this almost purplish color, grayish purple. And when it starts to get that color on it, we know we're getting close. So on top of color and looking at the fruit, we'll do lab analysis. So we're looking for the sugar level in the fruit, and we're looking for the acidity in the fruit as well. But the final arbiter, the big decision maker, is what the fruit tastes like. So we've got all this kind of backseat knowledge, like what it looks like and what the lab analysis is, but we always try and make the final decision based on how the fruit's actually tasting in the vineyard. So if we're up here tasting and the numbers are perfect and the fruit looks good and there's no flavor, we're not going to pick. You know, in Pinot Gris we often get pear, baked apple, spice characters, and when that starts to come in a really intense way, then that's when we'll make the decision and get the fruit off. In terms of the 2018 Estate Pinot Gris, it's about a 50-50 blend of what I'd call northern fruit, which is fruit from north of Okanagan Falls, and southern fruit, which is fruit from south of Okanagan Falls. Southern fruit brings us those kind of richer, like baked dessert, baked apple, baked pear kind of characters, a little bit of fig maybe. And then the northern fruit, like where we're standing now, brings more of those green apple characters, pear, that kind of thing. 2018, we also did quite a bit of neutral oak fermentation with this wine. So the reason we do that is to build more body, texture, and roundness into the wine. And we don't have to depend so much on sugar to bring that richness as residual sugar. We can get the wine drier and still have it taste round and kind of unctuous without the sugar to help us. I really love the 18 Pinot Gris. Actually, it's probably the favorite of the ones that we've made here so far. For me, Estate Pinot Gris really focuses on those kind of bright acidities and fresh characters. I consider it a summertime wine, so kind of associate it with maybe like grilled seafood, that kind of thing. I've been working on this grilled octopus salad, which usually I would pair with our Platinum Rosé. It does work with the Pinot Gris as well. And then I keep referencing like baked fruits and baked desserts and things like that. And if you really wanted to push the pairing, you could maybe try it with like a tarte tatin or something like that. I think the biggest challenge so far for us has been the start of the growing season. We had a very cool, wet spring here in the Okanagan Valley. That being said, the vineyard guys did an awesome job at controlling vigor, managing the vineyard in a way that we got these really big, healthy canopies, but we still have nice, clean fruit, and things are ripening on a really, really nice kind of trajectory. So while I see the weather as the biggest challenge so far, I think the vineyard guys have actually managed to turn it into what looks like it's going to be a really spectacular harvest in terms of quality. For me, I like the fast pace, everything's always happening, trying to plan out 3 or 4 or 5 days in advance, and it's like a puzzle where you have all these different blocks of fruit and vineyards in the south and in the north that you got to move the fruit from to the winery, and you're kind of moving pieces around to try and get the most efficient but also maximize quality. There's no feeling like spending all year growing this fruit in the vineyard, making the picking decision, getting the fruit into the winery and seeing it, and you usually know as soon as you see the fruit in the bins that you've made the right decision or you haven't. People often only think of the winemaking process as starting from harvest and finishing at bottling. We're seeing these projects come to fruition that we started 4 or 5 years ago. So to try the finished wine, it's not just we really nailed, that picking decision in the winemaking. It's like we've really got this vineyard on the right track. We're producing really awesome quality fruit. And then, like I said, we're able to preserve that quality, and it's a really satisfying feeling to try the wine and think, yes, we nailed that. However, I'm one of those people who would say there's no such thing as a perfect wine. So it's always like, we really nailed that, but how could we get this a little bit drier? Or how could we build a little more texture? So it's always looking forward to the next challenge as well.